Okay, this is chapter 6, fostering online learning with educational websites and apps. Unfortunately, I don't have internet because I'm moving, so a lot of times during this lecture, I'm going to ask you to look up some certain terms for yourselves. I will explain them, but it's better for me to show you on the web, but in this case, you're going to have to do it yourself. Our learning outcomes are going to be described important technologies for managing digital content, including social bookmarking and cloud computing, organize electronic resources and address curriculum standards, analyze uses of WebQuest, virtual field trips, and video conferencing as instructional technologies, examine the issues surrounding online learning and virtual schools, compare and contrast different types of educational websites, and identify strategies for using educational websites interactively. We're going to focus on how teachers can benefit from using information management technology such as bookmarking, social bookmarking, information alerts, and e-newsletters. How do teachers organize electronic resources to address curriculum frameworks and learning standards? What are WebQuest, virtual field trips, and video conferencing? What are the advantages of and the complexities of online learning in virtual schools? What are different types of educational websites available on the internet? And how can educational websites provide interactive and engaging learning experiences for students? So we'll have a project on that this week, talking about this final one here. Managing information electronically. Well, the internet offers unparalleled wealth of academic info and knowledge. We know that. We're all pretty much used to the internet and probably have things well organized and able to go to sites we like to go to and do all those types of things. As teachers, we want to try to do that with educational websites, so we want to do this information management process of finding, organizing, using information particularly geared towards education and particularly geared towards your content area and standards you use and things of that nature. And it's very important that you have all those things at your fingertips and ready to go, just like you do your Facebook sites and your other social network things that you do. Many educators now rely on the internet's wealth of digital content, and you're going to too. And during the lecture we had face to face last Monday, we looked at how we can rely on the internet to find a wealth of content to help us write lesson plans. Bookmarking and cloud computing for teachers. Well, we know what bookmarking is. I hope you do. It's just setting a tab for things that you like, and you can go back to them easily. But the thing that we're doing now is called cloud computing, and there's different types of cloud computing. Essentially, I look at a cloud as a storage unit. We have these things called thumb drives or jump drives. It's just a thumb drive or a jump drive that's in in another server somewhere in the world that you store your stuff at. Some people are afraid of them, and I guess they could be hacked. I used to carry around a whole necklace of jump drives because I wanted to have all my information at my fingertips. Well, I use a thing called Dropbox. It's free. You get 5 gigs of space, and you just go to Dropbox.com and sign up for it. They don't want any information but your email and your name. They don't want your address, your phone number, a credit card, any of that stuff. And I keep everything educational on Dropbox, and you can sign into Dropbox on any computer, um, and I have everything I need at any computer I'm at. Um, that has to do with all my educational stuff. I don't put things in my Dropbox like social security numbers and things of that. And I don't put any personal information in there, but hey, someone wants to hack my Dropbox and look at my lesson plans or, something like that. Hey, more power to them, or a paper I'm writing or whatever. Have fun. But, they're not getting my social security. So I'm very confident with the cloud. I haven't heard of any clouds being um, hacked. They are pretty, I would imagine, very secure. I'm confident. I have a Macintosh here at home and an iPhone. And when you buy an iPhone nowadays, I just bought one for my mom and my sister. They automatically get iCloud backup, and I have iCloud backup on my Mac here too, and it automatically backs just about everything on the computer. So if I have a some type of crash or something like that, everything's backed up with the iPhone. All the contacts, everything's all in the cloud, so you don't have to worry about that. So again, files available to access anywhere on any browser. This notion of social bookmarking, I'm not going to go into that in great detail, but if you are on Facebook and you see a picture that's tagged, and for those of you that aren't on Facebook, you can put a little square around the head of somebody in a photo and type in their name, and that's it's called tagging. It tags them. So social bookmarking is kind of like that. You just have it's a little bit more in depth than that, but basically that's what it is, because then you can click on that tag and it goes to that person's information, and that's really what social bookmarking is all about. Um, Information alerts. Well, you can sign up for those. FAMU has information alert on the weather or crime or internet outages, things like that you can get on your phone or sent to your computer. Um, you can also get them on particular topics. You can get Google alerts and stuff like that. E-newsletters, I would advise you to find the e-newsletters in your content area and subscribe to them. They don't cost anything. They don't want your information other than your email, maybe a little bit of information, but certainly not a credit card or probably not even your home address. But they come in your email regularly, and you can get a lot of good ideas from them. And then this RSS, really simple syndication feeds. Um, you see these in a lot of web pages. They're a little orange icon with stripes in it, and when you click on that and you subscribe to it, if you go to a web page frequently and you don't really want to scroll through all the information every time, the RSS feed will tell you if there's been any updates to the site. So that's something you may want to look up on. You can do a Wikipedia real quick on RSS feeds and how they work, but they're really becoming passe anymore. I don't. A lot of new sites aren't using them. Um, Organizing web resources to meet standards. Well, we want to try to match our websites with our academic content and our curriculum standards and or frameworks. Um, so we look at our curriculum, what we're trying to do, and we try to find websites to match that. We can bookmark and social bookmark those things. Um, we can do a tag and put it in the cloud if we want to. Um, and basically what this slide is saying is we want to be organized with web resources, and we can do that easily through bookmarking. The same thing with standards. We want to know where to access the standards. I showed you how to do that in TaskStream, but you can find this Florida Sunshine State Standards through the Department of Education, or just Googling Florida Sunshine State Standards, and you're going to get the same thing that I showed you pretty much with TaskStream. TaskStream does a little bit better of organizing them, but you can still find whatever you want simply through the internet. You should be aware of them, have those at your fingertips through bookmarking or tagging or tabbing on your browser. WebQuest, I used to do WebQuest. I have you guys build WebQuest as a group, and I probably will continue to do that in an online environment, but I'm not going to do it in the summer because it's only 13 weeks, so we don't have time to do it. But one of your assignments this week is going to be, is you're going to critique a WebQuest. So, and I'll have a little video explanation of that as soon as I get my internet working. May not do it this week, we may do it next week. But WebQuests are really something you use as a tool. You set it up, you design the WebQuest, and then your students go in and follow kind of the trail you set for them. And you take them on a journey from start to finish. You set the stage, you set the process, you evaluate, and you give a conclusion. I'm sorry, I missed task. You give them a task to do, then a process, then evaluation, then conclusion. And I just want you to look at 2 different WebQuests and give me a critique. Now, I will have assignments set up for that, and I'll have a little bit more information on that, but be aware that's coming down the pike here. And then the 4 essential considerations you want to look at with WebQuests are: who are your students, or what are they capable of? What grade level is going to be an issue. How technologically literate they are is going to be an issue. But generally nowadays, technological literacy is not a huge issue, but the younger students might not understand as much as the older students, so you have to take that into consideration. Kind of like a lesson plan. What do you want to teach? How are you going to do it? How are you going to know they learn? How will students at different skill levels productively work together? Because WebQuests are generally group work, and you usually put them in a group and give them a quest, and the group has to group breaks up into different players or peoples or actors or whatever you're going to have them be, and they go through the quest. So we'll look at one, but I want you to find a couple more on your own and do a critique on each one of them. Again, we may not do that this week. Probably do that next week. And then another big thing with the WebQuest is the technology integrated seamlessly into the assignment. So these are the questions I want you to critique the WebQuest with. What these 4 questions you're going to answer with each of the WebQuests that you critique in the assignment. So again, we'll go over that at another time. Virtual field trips and interactive video conferencing, that's becoming more and more commonplace. Virtual field trips, you can take your students just about anywhere in the world and show them different things. You can show them the Eiffel Tower, you can show them the Taj Mahal, you can show them the Great Wall of China, whatever you want to do. There's going to be virtual field trips out there for them. You just have to go on the internet and look. Video conferencing is coming a lot more commonplace too. I was at a thing early this summer at a robot camp, and uh, it was inside and at the School of Architecture, and there was a school down in Ocala that couldn't make it, so they just video conferenced in, and they showed us all their stuff over the internet, and they were watching us the whole time while we were there, and these things work out really fine, and as leaders, you need to take advantage of that because you're all going to be educational leaders when you leave FAMU in the College of Education. If you're not in the College of Education, you're going to be leaders in your selected disciplines. So, video conferencing is really cool, especially for children in education. Online learning and virtual schools, well, we're kind of doing online distance learning here. Virtual schools, we have the Florida Virtual School. We have a Florida Virtual College now. I think some students were talking about the virtual school. I think some of my students in camp last week were talking about virtual school and how you can do all this stuff on there, like get your license and get license renewals and all these other types of things virtually. I mean, they're virtually doing driving lessons now in Florida Virtual School. And it's becoming really commonplace that, particularly if a student's struggling and they need, they may have flunked a class and they need it to graduate, they could do it in virtual school. There's all kinds of different aspects of the virtual school as well. So I would encourage you, if you have not seen the virtual school, I would imagine most of you have. But if you haven't, I would look up, just Google Florida Virtual School and look around and see what it does. Blended and hybrid learning, combination of clicks and bricks. Well, that's what we're doing. We're doing more clicks than bricks, but we're not completely online because we do meet from time to time. So that would be a great indication of a blended or hybrid learning, although we call this class web enhanced, not blended or hybrid learning. We're web enhancing this class and this particular class just to see how it works and what we need to do better. And we'll ask you to do a survey at the end of this course to tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, and what can be improved. Whether it's online, virtual, blended, or hybrid, they're increasingly becoming more common and sometimes even required. But it's also a subject of great debate, and we'll talk about that in another lecture. But there are some pros and cons with online learning, and there are some proponents and opponents of online learning. So we'll talk about that at a later date. Educational websites as teaching resources. Well, great sources of internet-based digital content out there that are designed with K through 12 learning goals. There is just a wealth of stuff out there now that I didn't have 10 years ago that I would have loved to have had now. Would have made my job as a junior professor and, getting my dissertation and all the stuff I had to do to be a professor would have made it a heck of a lot easier to have all the stuff that we have now. And when I was teaching in the high schools, it would have been very important to me as a technology education teacher to have all this stuff that I would have now. You're very, very fortunate to have all this stuff now. But you still have to sift through and find the good stuff. So, But there are thousands of sites from colleges, universities, museums, government agencies, nonprofit organizations, scientific agencies, corporations, and individuals who just like to put stuff on the web. So, just a wealth of great stuff out there. Um, Lesson plan websites. Yeah, I showed you some Monday. Okay. So I'm not going to go through that. You know what those are, and you know how to find them. You know what to do. Student to expert communication websites. Um, this is where you can students can go to experts in college, businesses, and other organizations to go to their websites that are geared towards them to get information they want. So these people in colleges and business and organizations have set up a lot of cool websites just for kids um, or students. One of those would be like Design Squad that PBS puts out, so kids can go there to learn how to make cool things, like rubber band cars. I know that may not sound really cool, but you know, for a middle school student or elementary school student, this is it's cool, and they have experts on there that kind of dig into the nuts and bolts of it a little more and make it understanding for them. For you, at this level, something like this would be like the Khan Academy, KHAN Academy, and I would love to. I think I showed you that in another video. Um, but you can literally get any information you want from experts. Um, that anything you need academically, generally gen ed classes, math, science, and the like, history. Um, there are live situations with these student expert communication websites, so you can do some face to face ace or synchronous learning, and or they have discussion boards. Some of them have these live feeds through YouTube and all these other things that you can ask questions live, or you can post questions and they'll come back in a week and tell you the answers. Um, and then there's this thing called telementoring and e-tutoring. Um, those are where you're going to have synchronous, live tutoring and mentoring, and those sites are out there. You should look at them. Do Wikipedia or Google search for the do telementoring. See what you get. You'll be surprised. We have real time and recorded dated websites. Kind of the same thing I was talking about before. In the last slide, you can get real time things or recorded. Real time is synchronous, recorded is asynchronous. So when I say synchronous and asynchronous, you know what that means. Information about science and scientific phenomena. Students can easily access and analyze data, play the role of individual observer as if one were physically present at the research site. So there are these virtual labs out there that you can go into and be the, mix chemicals and analyze data and stuff like that. There's a site out there called Second Life. I believe it's called. You should check that out. You can virtually create your own avatar, which is just a virtual model of yourself, and go anywhere in the world, from Skid Row in New York to the palaces of England. It doesn't matter, anywhere in the world. Second Life is now just about everywhere. So that's something you might want to check out as well. Archival and primary source websites, electronic access to primary materials for museums, libraries, universities, and other organizations. Something like the Smithsonian Institute has such great resources for kids um, that at just about every grade level. Um, so you can get all types of materials from them. NASA's another good one. A lot of the universities are now doing that. FAM is starting to do that. We do have some of that stuff um, in the School of Architecture, School of Engineering, and we also are having it in the College of Education. Um, you can do role playing in these things. We don't have that in the college. I don't think we have that at FAMU yet, but they do have that at a few universities around the country, but mainly at organizations and museums and places. NASA, Smithsonian Institute, PBS is another good one. They provide paper materials you can print out, online images, photographs, charts, graphs, data, all types of other resources. So you'd be surprised at what you could see at the Smithsonian. And for those of you that have tablets, you can get the Smithsonian app. That's a really good app that you can show your students and really worthy. Okay. Skill and practice websites, those are out there, and they do educational games and like remedial work. Um, a lot of them use flashcard type situations. But there's also really good learning sites for the younger kids from Disney, some of the other cartoons, network stuff out there to help kids with these types of games for learning activities. There's also a lot of really good apps out there um, for skill and practice. Although this says websites, but I'm talking apps too here. Discovery websites, the same thing. Um, you can do online explorations of interest. Um, you can even dissect a frog now on a website out there. Check it out, find it. You can dissect your own frog now. And then there's a really good app for that too. Um, and finally, using educational websites and apps interactively, you want to look at them for interactivity, exploration, and engagement. The interactivity are these simulations, demonstrations, searches, questions, and it could you do some data analysis with it. And is it a good site for students to navigate in a non-linear fashion, not just a straight line? Because there's several levels and spectrums to this stuff that these students can explore. And then finally, engagement. Is it compelling? Is it keeping their interest? Um, Students love mysteries and controversies, so when they're investigating these types of things. So when you look at these websites, and we're going to have another uh, assignment where you're going to find two teacher websites that you would use in your classrooms. Again, I'll have more information on that on the assignment itself, but these are the questions you want to ask when you look at the website. They offer these things, and you're going to ask a lot more. You can ask a lot more questions beside these. Okay, that's it for chapter 6. We will see you next time.